senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. Chad.
Harris, good morning. Everyone is watching to see if the Trump administration frees up food aid based on the SNAP judgments last week. Lots of Republicans are making predictions that the government shutdown could end soon.
They are waiting to elect Mamdani, the communist, soon-to-be mayor of New York, and then I believe things will go back into business as normal.
Saturday was when insurance premiums came out. Now it's Election Day on Tuesday. Whatever it is, I believe that this week could be the week.
But Republicans predicted the government would reopen days after it closed in October. They also believe that Democrats would cave after the No Kings rallies. This week's elections, coupled with air traffic control issues, exploding health care premiums, and SNAP benefits, are the latest inflection points.
This is about math. Republicans have to have at least 7 Democrats. We need 5 more. 5 more moderate, centrist, common sense people who care more about the constituents they serve and the country that they supposedly serve than their own political futures and the retribution they'll receive from the Marxist, Mamdani, communist left in the party.
Pennsylvania Democrat John Fetterman is exasperated with his party. Fetterman is one of only 3 members who caucuses with the Democrats who voted with the GOP to fund the government.
I feel like the Democrats really need to own the shutdown. I mean, we're shutting it down, and now people can't count on their SNAP benefits, and also WIC and Head Start. These are the kinds of people, why I'm a Democrat, fighting for people that just like that. Now, it seems like we're moving against our core values to keep our government shut down at this point.
Now, the funding bill only runs until November 21st, so even that bill is quickly becoming moot. House GOP leaders are discussing the calendar right now, but they would not say when the old funding bill becomes irrelevant. Harris?
Chad, thank you very much. Republican Senator John Cornyn of the great state of Texas, member of the Judiciary, Budget, and Finance Committees, with me now. Thank you for being with me. First of all, what will it take to maybe get things going? And before I get to that, Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina, Republican, was hinting at the fact that maybe you wait until Mamdani is elected in New York. Senator, do you think anybody is dirty enough in their politics across the aisle to wait for a race like this to prove that affordability is something that really matters to people during a shutdown?
Well, I don't know what the predictions are based on. We keep looking for some rational behavior on the part of the Democrats who shut down the government, but it was a dumb idea to start with, and it hasn't gotten any better since. And a lot of people are being hurt, as your story has pointed out. Not only are the government employees, the unions employ 800,000 or have 800,000 members, have come out against the shutdown. We know that 40 million people who depend on supplemental nutrition assistance are being denied those benefits. And we just need 5 Democrats to vote to reopen government. But it's your point. It is now becoming close to a moot issue with this deadline running November the 21st. What are they going to do after that? I don't know.
Well, and this idea of bumping up against the holiday season with Thanksgiving just a couple weeks away, about 2.5 weeks away, it is untenable to think that people will be unable to go where they need to go. That's going to then affect the airline industry. You've seen some of those airline CEOs come out, to the chagrin, I would say, of Democrats. What are you hearing about any type of a timeline for this?
Well, you're right. This isn't getting any better. It's getting worse, contrary to what Senator Schumer said, which he said every day gets better for us. I don't know what he's thinking about other than his own political future and career. But so I can't predict for you because this isn't based on logic. This isn't based on reason. It's based on a sheer political calculation that somehow Republicans and President Trump are going to get blamed for a shutdown that Democrats caused. And I know that's not true. You know that's not true. But I keep thinking that as more and more pain is experienced by the people we're supposed to be representing, that finally they'll come to their senses. But so far, that hadn't happened.
Yeah, we'll have to pray for that because they are beyond the idea that they'll just stumble on to doing the right thing, apparently. One polling expert says Democrats plan to stir outrage over SNAP benefits running out, and it's backfiring big time.
I don't know that these decisions by these judges are helping them, because the Democrats really wanted people to not get this assistance and be up in arms and very upset and cause more turmoil over the next week. And these judges have stepped in and said, oh, well, we think we're going to feed you. How we're going to do it, I don't quite know. I do think that we're seeing a change in public opinion towards all of these benefits. There's a slow shift. You won't see it from the legacy pollsters, and you won't hear from the legacy media. But the country is beginning to shift.
What do you think he means by that, beginning to shift?
Well, I think there's been a lot of coverage of the fact that illegal immigrants are receiving some of these benefits. And of course, this, like free health care and other assistance, are incentives for illegal immigration, and to the detriment of the people who are American citizens, who are the most vulnerable in our country. And so I think the recalcitrance of the Democrats is actually exposing them to their continued support for illegal immigration incentives. But unfortunately, it's hurting a lot of innocent people, and I wish it would end soon. I hope it does.
The Bible says the meek shall inherit the earth. We're waiting for the Democrats to make sure that we can feed them. Wow. Good to see you today. Senator, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.